I wonder what year it is. How long have I been down here? I wonder what my family's doing right now. I wonder if the outside world is still the same. I ask myself every day, was it worth it? Or was it all just for nothing? Nah, I'm just fucking with you. I made like 24 billion silver in 2 weeks and selling some shit right now and making another like 10 billion silver. So yeah, I mean, it is definitely not. It's definitely something. I'm gonna keep it a buck. This has been one of the worst and most excruciating grinds I've ever done. Honestly, I've ever put myself through, and I put myself through some shit before. 2 straight weeks of 7 to 8 hour streams of living in Sycraia underwater ruins, hitting the same mobs for hours at a time. I'm not even gonna lie to you. This shit was the most unfun garbage ever. If I wasn't streaming, I probably would have just put a bullet somewhere. This grind was legitimately gonna be the reason I either quit BDO or I just keep progressing forward. This was going to be the deciding factor whether or not I could do this. At this stage in the game for me, if I can't even manage to get through something like this to keep going forward, I can't keep playing BDO, and that's the genuine truth. That's the reality. Every single one of my gains are literally like 30 billion silver, if not higher, and in order for me to even get to those gains whatsoever, I have to grind. I refuse to use the enhancing system because I just don't like enhancing or gambling for my gains. I'm not about it. Unless I get free crons and they give me something that like a Jay's hammer or whatever, I really don't enhance. And I also have to have an item to wish to enhance, and I normally don't. So I just never touch it. It's just not worth it for me. So essentially, no enhancing for me pretty much. Not even for profit either, by the way. So we just don't do that around here. We got to do it the good old fashioned way. Hard work, dedication, and a lot of bitching. Albeit I do have to kind of admit that I am pretty carried in Sycraia. I'm not even gonna hold you. I'm pretty goddamn carried in this fucking shithole. I've had multiple hours where I pull 5 to 6 tongue rings in a single hour. That's all on stream. It's crazy how many times that I've been super carried in Sycraia. The worst part, to add insult to injury to those of you that are not RNG carried, is I can't really recall a single bad hour in Sycraia out of the 100 that I've spent there in the past 2 weeks. That being said, I still hate Sycraia as a grind spot. Not because it's bad, but because it's just borderline not worth it due to min bidders. Now don't get it twisted, it will always be worth it because Sycraia is usually like 230 some million even without like a tongue ring drop, right? But you're still going there so that way when you do get that RNG, you can actually still exponentially increase your money per hour. But because these min bidders are just dropping the prices so drastically, you get pissed off and demotivated to even want to grind there because it's like you're losing money and it just feels not good. I essentially have lost hundreds of millions of silver because of tongue grad ring min bidders and shit. I've literally lost hundreds of millions of silver. They're like, I think somebody was telling me on like the ocean servers or whatever, there's capped out at 150 mil per and there's like 50 pre-orders up. I'm just sitting here like, that could be us. That could be me. Just the money per hour would be so much better if min bidders would stop just getting so desperate for fucking pennies. It would be so great if they would just like learn to realize you can force the prices to be max. However, this doesn't mean it's completely bad, but it's basically on par with like Valencia, Sulfur, Pilaku, Fogan grinds, etc. Like almost anything Valencia can make just about as much as Sycraia, and sometimes even more depending on what you get there. If we take a look at my average hour grind in Sycraia that I've just input here in Garmoth, and keep in mind this is actually like an average hour, by the way, I usually make about 300-ish million silver per hour, and that sounds really good and dandy, but you know, one, I have to sweaty grind. I mean, not really because, you know, striker, but I have to essentially grind harder than I'd like to in order to pull these numbers. Now let's take a look at a place like Sulfur Mines, right? And here it takes significantly less effort to grind, and yet I can almost pull the same amount of money with way less effort and not really any kind of issues whatsoever. It's just, you press one button, kill a pack, walk to the next one, press one button, kill a pack, walk to the next one. You can fall asleep making money here. Like, it's literally just what it is. What sets these two grind spots apart is the RNG factor. In Sulfur Mines, you essentially are getting the same money consistently over and over. In Sycraia, you get like 5 tongue ring drops in like 1 single hour, and you're just fast tracking your way to just the easy billion a day marker. It's like, you know, consistency versus like consistency plus RNG, because you can still make good money consistently in Sycraia even without a ring drop. Like I said before, it's about 235 mil an hour without a tongue ring drop for me. So that being said, even if I get cucked by RNG, I'm still popping. But what makes it annoying is that I still had to grind somewhat kind of sweaty so that way I could pull these numbers in order to make it worthwhile, versus I get consistent money and it's also super brain dead and super easy. So like, weigh your options here. You can grind consistently and never get that juicy grind RNG where you get loaded in 1 hour, or you can test your luck and still make you good money even if RNG is a bit of a bitch. Me personally, I can grind Sycraia and just fall asleep still. Like, it's about the same for me, but not a lot of people want to grind like that, so just kind of like take your pick really. I will say, if you're not at least pulling about 7.5k trash in Sycraia on average, you're kind of just wasting your time, because that's like the marker where you're making decent money per hour in trash. You can go up to like 10k. I've seen people pull 10k before. But the problem is like, you have to really have higher AP. You got to have Black Star. You got to know what you're doing. The pulls have to be like precise, picture perfect. The best hour I've had is I think 8.1 to 8.2k trash. And that's, again, me super sweaty, not reading my chat or anything like that. And I'm just actually like focused and zoned in on grinding. So if you're trying to, do that, sure. But sometimes you're just not. I honestly, out of the 100 hours I've spent here, there's been plenty of hours where I'm like, man, I wish I was just brain dead somewhere else doing fucking nothing. At the end of the day, Sycraia, pretty poggers. It's just kind of cool. It's kind of cool. I like it, but I don't know if I like it to do for 100 hours in order to get 30 billion silver. Definitely was nice, but I don't know that I would ever want to do it again really heavily. I'd much rather go to Valencia, make 270 mil, and just, fall asleep grinding. It's so much easier. But that's just me. Thank you guys for watching. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.